obviously it's a really hot topic to talk about, the potential Keefe D case and all that stuff. But um, I don't know if a lot of people are familiar. I'm not even familiar, so I'm genuinely asking for myself. What's the difference between like a grand jury and a preliminary hearing, and can one of those, like, basically, can they get rejected? Could they take the Keefe D case to a grand jury or have a preliminary hearing and then say, you don't have a case here, we can't prosecute him?
Okay, that's a man. That's a great question. I didn't know you was going to ask something like that. Really didn't. Let me throw this out right quick. Let me do a disclaimer. Even though I put out a bit earlier in some episodes where I go and said, that Keefe will be indicted in the month of September. Catch what I said. Catch my words when I speak on shit. I said indicted. I never used the word convicted. I never used that word. The whole time that I've ever been talking, I never said convicted. And I purposely hadn't used that word. I hope so. I think he might take a plea agreement, a deal or something like that, because any of you motherfuckers sitting on a jury, or any person like my mom, my dad, well, not my dad, but my mom and our aunties and people like that, hear somebody openly confess as many as times that the DA going to play that in court, and they're going to be like, shit, you said it, you said it, you said it. Y'all did a report on him to see that he's not psychologically crazy. The judge, everything said he's fit, and he said it, and he's not denying that he said it. Or he didn't say it just to get out of a deal or something like that. But you said, kept repeating it and kept saying it, and y'all have all this evidence. He's getting convicted. But there's things that happens in between that time. It goes to a judge for discoveries and motions and what they call, and I'll get into probable cause and grand jury in a minute, but there are things that go before judges where shit get kicked out. So just know that y'all saying that. That's my disclaimer, for a year from now, when everybody said, oh, Reggie, you were wrong. You told he was going to prison and all that. I didn't say that. I never said that. I said he's going to be indicted. Big difference. So what John's question was, and which was a great question, y'all just don't know how deep John went with that question, is you have a grand jury. A grand jury happens, and I won't talk about the state of California because I know New York takes a lot of stuff to the grand jury and all of that. But I don't know each one of y'all state laws. And so I'm just going to talk about California because that's what I know, in Vegas. You have three ways you can get arrested in the state of California. One is a cop come out and you give them enough information that a felony has occurred. And the police officer will take you into custody for that crime. Now, we have misdemeanors. I'm just talking about felonies. I know for a lot of you people that are even smarter will go, well, what about a citizen arrest? Well, that's only for a misdemeanor crime. Like you hit me, I hit you, you spit on me, and we don't live together, because if we live together or we married or in a relationship or something, that becomes domestic, which is a felony. But just straight assaults and petty theft under $500 and all of these are misdemeanors. Those generally have to be witnessed by somebody that's willing to sign what they call a citizen arrest. Okay? So let's take that out of the equation. So a felony arrest, we go, so-and-so shot me, this one happened, you stole my car, whatever, a felony, something that's considered a felony. And a cop come and make an arrest. What happens is the cop write that police report, and generally, 95% of the time, they take it and present it Well, 100% of the time, you either take it to the city attorney in most states or cities or counties, which is ran by the city attorney of that city, but not in all cities, because the city of Compton, we take every misdemeanor case or whatever to the DA, the district attorney in the county of Los Angeles, and you take that. So that is what you call going to the DA. Now, the DA at that time, by a cop, can reject the case. And that's why you get a lot of people say, I got a DA reject. I got a DA reject, or whatever. Then you have something that happens that's called, okay, now you go to courts, the DA files, and he can take it to, it's the DA's option, not the defense attorney or yours. The DA can take it to, and which 95% of the time, he takes to what they call a preliminary hearing. That's just when a judge just sit there and see if there's enough facts for the case to pursue, to get kicked up to what they call superior court. That happens probably more than 95%. I don't know the ratio, but it happens often. I probably arrested, well, I ain't gonna tell y'all because I arrested a lot of people when I was a cop. But I've never been before a grand jury. Never been before a grand jury as a cop. And most cops hasn't. But what happens, you go before the judge, tell the facts and all of that, kicks it up to court. That's preliminary hearing. But then you have something when they're keeping everything secret, when they want to keep the facts secret and sealed and all of that. And that's why I said it only happened about 5 to 3% of the time, where they do what they call a grand jury. Feds does this all the time, federal, and I believe some other states just take everything to the grand jury. The grand jury is a bunch of people in the community that like take off at least a year to 6 months or whatever, where they hear all type of cases. That's just not like jury duty. To get selected for a grand jury, you go through a little bit more than just being on a jury. And they do it like a job, where their job probably still paying them or whatever. I don't know if they get paid by the state or the county to sit on the grand juries. But they're the ones that decide where, if the case can get picked up instead of a judge doing a preliminary hearing, where all the evidence get presented to the grand jury. Now, I told y'all that the defense attorney and the defendant don't have the rights to be there or have the right to question there. Preliminary hearing, a good defense attorney just usually just hear everything. Don't say nothing. Kind of explain to their client, you're about to get held over, or we'll fight this in court, you know. But some defense attorneys will ask questions in a preliminary hearing. But they don't ask much. They generally stay kind of mute, keep everything their game plan close to the vest, because they know a preliminary hearing judge, a municipal court judge is what they usually were, but they kind of changed that since I've been a cop. They all kind of hear cases now in LA County. But they generally don't kick out cases that often. You have to really fuck up as a cop or do something wrong. But usually the DA usually know that it's shaky and they usually don't file the case. And so the grand jury, though, they can ask questions. The people that's sitting there, hey, well, prosecutor, you said this, or why did this happen? So they have the right to cross-examine the witnesses, the people that's sitting in the grand jury. And that's what Keefe D is going before right now, a grand jury in the state. He's not going, they could have easily just arrested him and took it to superior or to court, you know, if the DA wants to file the case and make him go to preliminary hearing. But they want to make sure everything is good enough to at least get him indicted by the grand jury. And so Keefe D will be indicted by the grand jury. Guarantee y'all. I would bet anything with anybody that want to take that bet. But I'm not here saying that he will be convicted of the crime, because now there is a possibility that, number one, that the DA in Las Vegas, the head guy, the boss, might say, after all the evidence that y'all done collected, I don't believe we have a strong enough case. And we don't want to proceed because I don't want to embarrass my office, especially if he's up for re-election. Now, if he's up for re-election, he ain't touching this. I don't know. Now, if he's on his way out and don't plan on rerunning or about to get another job, then he may take that chance. But if he's aspiring to be something more, he'd be like that Bill Cosby. You remember that Bill Cosby lawyer that got in? That he took that case in Philadelphia and brought it before he ran on the promise that he was going to bring Bill Cosby up for charges. Eventually lost it and got kicked out, but that was his promise to the people when he ran for DA. So I don't know the situation in Vegas. Is that where's that DA's political aspirations are? But that DA, the head DA, can be the one to make those decisions whether or not to proceed once his deputy DA comes back and says, hey, I got enough, I got a grand jury indictment, where do we proceed from here? So do y'all got it? That's the difference between a grand jury and all I'm saying that's going to happen, that he's going to be arrested or convicted or by the grand jury. Where it goes after the grand jury, well, that goes with the legal maneuvers. And you may get a good lawyer that want to take on this case because it's going to be a lot of publicity behind it. And either good or bad. You know, the DA that makes this happen, he'll be the state attorney general running on that if he decides to go that route. The deputy DA, he's going to get big feathers in his hat. May even, if y'all don't know about most great defense attorneys, a lot of them, Johnny Cochran, David Kenner, a lot of them were DAs, deputy DAs, before they became, y'all boy from OJ, Chris Darner. He's real big out here in LA now, doing cases. He was Marcia Clark assistant on the OJ case. And so, but he's big in defense attorney now. So I'm saying that just to say, could you imagine that deputy DA that get conviction on this case? We all gonna know his name by the time this trial start going. We're gonna know his name, trust me. Every YouTube channel, every newspaper that's still out there, going to be there reporting everything that's said and done that's going on. And so if he wins it, he can be big. But they only going to proceed past the grand jury if they know they have a strong enough case, in my opinion. And that's as far as I'm going as far as any bets on what happened. I'm not putting that he's going to get convicted. I'm just saying that he will be indicted. Y'all remember that. Remember those words. Because credibility is everything to me. And I always tell y'all, Reggie, you always lying, you always lying, you always lying. Tell me an outright lie that Reg told me that y'all can prove, other than a speculation or a belief. Y'all can't. I have fucked up, made some mistakes, misquoted some things. But this is an outright lie? You're a lie. If you're saying that in the comment section, you're a lie.